Peggy 16.
Coming out here, you're struck by the silence. But then, if you stand there for a minute, you realize it isn't silent at all. A lot of people feel like they're visiting. But when you're hunting, you're not just visiting. You're part of it. And the wild draws you in. You step on a twig, you stand with the wind. Everything you do leaves a mark. But then when you do see it, that moment, line up the shot, take a deep breath, and that feeling, you just have to experience it for yourself.
Hey everyone, Adam and Shane here from EverGreen Outfitters.
We're here to talk about the new trailer for the Hunter called The Wild.
Expansive Worlds just released this Monday, 28th of November, and if you just watch the trailer, which was at the start of this video, you'd be able to tell a couple things right off the bat. Some of which include the graphics, which might be the first thing you pick up on. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got the I'm about 7 seconds into the trailer right now, and just it's a shot of some pine trees looking over just this vast, what I assume to be the open world, with some mountains in the background, and just the graphics look incredible.
They're
And now
definitely a step up from the old Hunter, or the Hunter Classic as people have now been calling it. And you could tell that they used a new engine and everything. But the thing that people are arguing about is it needs a beefy computer to run compared to the old Hunter.
yeah, a lot of players. I've seen people complaining about how a lot of players in the community have kind of lower end PCs because the game isn't necessarily that intensive to run. You don't need a beefy PC to get it done. I mean, myself, I'm running it on an HP laptop, and it runs pretty good. I can play it. So I myself won't even be able to play Call of the Wild. It's that much of an upgrade. I think at the very least you need an i5 processor. I think that's what the specs were.
Yeah, i5. So, I mean, I can run the current Hunter on high settings, no problem. But this one, if I want to play it at all, I'm going to have to be running it on low with like 10 to 20 frames a second. And it's not going to be pleasant for me.
Yeah. I definitely think a lot of people are going to be kind of angry about this because it's going to force them, if they want to play this, to go and get a higher NPC, and that's also going to hurt Expansive Worlds because they're not going to get as many sales.
This begs the question: is it going to end up like the Hunter Primal? Which that was a bad idea.
I feel kind of like it won't. I wasn't around when the Hunter Primal came out, so I don't know what they kind of said about it or what was going on at that time. But with this, they really seem to be kind of moving forward. They want to, this is I believe, to quote them, the next generation of hunting games or whatever.
They said the ultimate hunting experience and all that.
Yeah, and it really feels like they're trying to step up the game, and just by the trailer you can see that it's the Hunter Primal, I feel like that was just kind of a spin-off that they were going for.
Yeah, they wanted to see what would happen, how many people would buy it and all that. and then halfway through they just stopped working on it completely, and that honestly made a lot of people angry.
Yeah, I feel like it was more of just a little idea that they decided to, set some people aside and develop and see how it would go. Whereas this really does seem to be the next step for them. And I don't know how I feel about it, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of skeptical of it
Yeah.
because of what happened with the Hunter Primal, but it does look really good.
Yeah,
But
it
there
looks
are a lot of
amazing.
problems. There are a lot of problems with it. Obviously, we haven't seen any proper gameplay. We don't know anything
Yeah,
about it yet. This is
they've
just essentially a teaser trailer.
yeah they've only shown a few animals. Of course, only one of which was new, which was the fallow deer. Which I mean, I know a
Right.
lot of people have been asking for.
And
And
that's something that I think is getting a lot of people kind of angry, is that we don't know how long they've had, the fallow deer, or
implemented.
for that matter, any other animal that we much implemented into this game as they've been testing it and building it and stuff like that. So, we've been requesting fallow deer for a long time,
And that's
and
their way to get us to buy this.
exactly, it's a selling point. It's all about marketing. And I'm hoping what they'll do is they'll add, the fallow deer into the Hunter Classic as it's but at the same time, I feel like they're just not going to do that.
Yeah.
And
Honestly, I feel like Timber Gold Trails was their last push for the Hunter, and they're deciding that they're going to close it after that. Don't quote me, I don't
well,
know, but I feel like that's what's happening. The wolf,
well,
I feel like, is the last thing.
they did say, I believe, I briefly looked at the forums to kind of see what was going on, and I haven't checked it since. But I believe they did say that they still love this game. It's still dear to them, obviously, because they built it for so many years,
And the
a
pun's
decade
in
at this
there.
point.
Don't forget that deer pun.
um, yeah, but yeah, and they built it up so much, and I think they do want to keep working on it. But a lot of people are saying at the moment, that this is either going to make or break the game. And I know a few people that have been, that are veterans of the game, have played it for years and years, ever since it came out. They're saying, in this situation, it seems like one game is going to die and the
Yep.
other one is going to survive. And we don't know which one that is. And the unfortunate thing is that, obviously EW is going to the next generation here. And it seems like the Hunter Classic is going to be the one that dies in this situation as far as they are concerned. And
yeah, that honestly really disappoints me though, because I
it
mean,
it
there's
does,
people that have a
because
lot of money into that game. I feel like they should get
exactly,
something
and
special out of this.
that brings up another thing too, is that
There's no longer
will
microtransactions in this either. This is one-time
right there,
purchase.
it's something about unlock. Yeah, it is a one-time purchase, so that's good to hear. Some people don't like that because they like the idea of memberships. I myself, I'm all for a one-time purchase. I
I
feel like
don't
it's a
really
lot
mind
better.
it, honestly. I enjoy the
But
microtransactions. At the same time, I'd like to not have them.
right. Um, but it begs the question: will we have the same equipment brought over into this new game? Will we have new equipment? I assume we will have new equipment. And what's the basis for that? Would veterans of the game that have had an account for years, X amount of years, will they get special rewards when purchasing this game, veteran reward or something like that? It would be cool to see, especially if they go, and I feel like they might do this, is release DLC content being like the Hunter Classic weapons, like bring in some of the old weapons from the Hunter Classic,
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
make a few extra bucks, bring back the weapons that people love. Because so part of me hopes that they will have everything, just switched over. But at the same time, I feel like they're not going to do that once again, just because of marketing. They would want to bring those over in DLC packs
Yeah.
to, make a little bit extra cash, which is fine and everything. As long as we get good replacements as far as new content comes with the release of the game. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I think they said something about an unlocking system,
Yeah,
which
like
is going to be
a
interesting.
campaign type deal. And what I'm curious is they're saying that there is multiplayer right off the bat, which is a good thing. The
Yeah.
Hunter Classic didn't
Well,
have
obviously,
that. But
they would have that, because what it seems to be is it seems that this game is a continuation of the
yeah,
Hunter
they're
Classic.
building from the Hunter
So
Classic, not
yeah,
recreating.
they're they're kind of taking as they said, they're taking the game that we all know and love, and they're adding to it. They're adding, just to list off some of the features that they listed off in the forums: realistic ballistics, immersive animal behavior, realistic animal behavior, which that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself. Is there going to be a rut? Are animals going to fight?
Oh, I've been waiting for that for a long time.
Will we see, predators hunting? I know.
They did say they were going to do something like that with the wolves.
Yes, yes,
Which
yes.
that might
That
be like a
that the
test for this. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, something interesting about the wolves is that the whole thing about the wolves so far, because I've obviously been keeping up with status updates, is that they're building new AI for the wolves. They're having a hierarchy, as they're making them very realistic, so that, from what I understand, don't quote me on it, but you could have one wolf pack on one side of the valley on
then another
Timbergold,
wolf pack.
and then another wolf pack that would then
And both have an
one would
alpha.
howl and the other
Yeah.
and one would howl, and then the pack would respawn, and in the last status update that we got for the wolves, they were talking about feeding on carcasses, which really intrigued me, because are they going to be hunting animals and bringing them down? Is it just going to be a situation of spawning in a carcass for the pack to be eating, that kind of thing, rather than them actually hunting? I feel like it's probably going to be that situation of, you'll stumble upon the pack and they'll be on a carcass already. You won't actually see it. But that's definitely something that I think will be brought over into Call of the Wild, is that improved AI. And already, I think with the elk,
Yeah.
I believe they were elk in the trailer.
Yes, there was elk, there was wild boar, bison, fox, and fallow deer.
Right, but with the elk, they were moving in a group, and they were trotting as a group, and just that alone is significantly improved AI. Because if you look at the elk currently in game, or any other group animal in the game that travel in herds or packs,
they tend to
in the
stray
case of
off
coyotes,
from each other.
Yeah, they're not one organized. It seemed like they were single file, like they were following each other in Call of the Wild, whereas in the Hunter Classic right now, they seem to just kind of have like a scattered formation where they all kind of
it's like
follow one another.
They made a bubble around them, and they said you can walk anywhere in this bubble. Basically, they'll stay near each other,
Yeah,
but it's
essentially,
not organized at all.
No, it's not organized, and I think that's just limitations to the AI. So it definitely looks like they're bringing something new into this game, and
keeping a lot of the old, like open world and all that nice stuff.
That's something interesting though. Is I'm interested to see what's going to happen with the reserves. I haven't read into it. I don't know if
they are going to have reserves. That I know.
Okay, so it's not just one big open world.
No, they have already said that they're gonna have 50 square miles ranging from wetlands and dense forests to lush valleys and open farm fields. So by saying wetlands and open farm fields, I'm assuming that they're going to bring ducks and geese over, which is my favorite.
Well, I feel like they would. I feel like they would kind of have to.
Yeah.
Especially if they're building off of. I know I saw somebody make a comment asking about waterfowl hunting, and it just seems like a no-brainer. If they don't add it in, then they're already losing a huge audience. That a player base that loves to do that only does that in the game. They just like to come on and shoot some ducks or geese, and that's fine and everything. which is why they need to bring it over. And I definitely think they will. It would be silly if they weren't to do that.
Exactly. Now that asks the next question: how many of the animals will they bring over?
They, I feel like they would have to do all of them. It depends. It really depends on what reserve they decide to put into the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because they
Um,
can't put polar bears in with what they're saying right now. They can't put reindeer in with what they're
they
saying
could.
right now.
They could.
Well, yeah, but they'd have to make a new
If you
reserve
have,
because they're not saying anything about tundras. They're
well,
just saying forests and wetlands and
well,
stuff.
that's true. That's true. But then again, we don't know that yet. They're just saying forests and wetlands. We don't know exactly what they're planning. They could.
Yeah, that could be an add-on later on, or maybe they're
Yeah,
just not including that in the descriptions that they've given.
exactly. They're very good at kind of keeping things hidden and wording certain ways. I know that
Yeah.
when you have during live streams, they answer select questions a lot.
Yeah, and they
Um,
don't even give full answers to those usually. They'll lead
no,
you on or
they're pretty good at being secretive and keeping us guessing.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely think there's going to be interesting to see what animals we see. I mean, already from what we have seen, the improvements on the animals,
Yes,
though.
they are amazing. The bison in
Um,
particular stood
the
out to me how they looked.
I the bison is the one thing that I'm not too sure about. It
I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying the change
right,
was
right,
significant in the
and
bison.
and and once again, it is early gameplay.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's not final, but I feel like they really nailed it in the Hunter Classic. The beard length was good. The fur was good, and they have improved the fur in this game from what it seems. You got there's a nice close-up shot of a fox in there,
yes, and you can
and
see
that
like
looked
his fur blowing. It looks like a little bit in the
oh yeah,
wind.
definitely looked really good. And the lighting on the fur as well.
Yeah,
It seems that the engine is allowing the lighting to kind of even the shot that I'm looking at that I mentioned earlier
with the
with
trees.
the
Yeah,
mountains
and
and the trees, you can see
lighting
the
going
sun
through the trees and everything. And
and
yeah,
reflecting off of the needles. It really of the pine trees. It really does look amazing. And once again, this is obviously polished up so that people think that it's really good graphics, but you
if
know
you compare Timber Gold Trails' trailer to what you can get from Timber Gold Trails on high settings, there's a difference, but it's not that significant. So the
yeah,
question
it,
is,
it
how much of a change did they make here?
and you also have to take into consideration all of the games, AAA titles that already have these kind of settings and these kind of you've got God rays and all
Yeah.
these different graphical settings that are really, amazing looking that they're probably going to end up bringing um, just because the engine can now handle it and it works properly. So it's definitely going to be interesting, um, and it's going to make it a much more immersive experience, which is definitely what they're going for.
Yeah.
Something um, something that really kind of struck me is the fact that they do have the fallow deer in here and that they really made it apparent that it was in the game, considering that I
Yes,
think it's the animal most showed off in the trailer.
it is, and
And it looks really good.
it does.
I'm really excited for it because
Well,
it
let me just say this:
it is something that everybody wanted,
I'm on the website
and
right now.
it's nice to actually see it being acknowledged and put in, like the wolves. When the wolves were revealed, so many people wanted wolves in the game,
Yeah.
and they just dropped that bombshell, and it was exciting, and now we're slowly seeing more progress with that, and it's just really awesome. So it's nice to see that the fallow deer are also going to make an appearance, maybe not in the Hunter Classic, but in Call of the Wild.
Well, I'm on the website for Call of the Wild right now, and at the top, as soon as you open it up, it says "Deep Breath, One Shot," and it is just a replaying clip of the fallow deer in the shot.
Oh, is it the one with the fallow deer and then the gun coming?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what's been playing this whole time.
yeah.
They are
That
really emphasizing the fallow deer.
and that in and of itself shows that there's going to be diversity. You know, it's not
Yes, and
because the trailer,
also
everything in
what I think that shows is that they've been listening to us all along, and they're going to be pulling things that we've been saying, and they're going to be trying to make it become a truth in this game.
well, maybe that's why a lot of the things that we've requested and that we've wanted haven't come out,
Yeah,
and why we've been under the impression that they haven't really listened to the community all that well. Now they have done a lot in the Hunter Classic.
they have.
Obviously, now we have this Rocky Mountain, uh, reserve that looks amazing. Another fall map, and now we've got wolves coming out on that map, and possibly other reserves as well. I know that White Rime could definitely use something else. I
Yes.
think wolves would work really well on maybe Himmel. Um, but they have done a lot, but there are still many things that aren't in the game that they've probably purposefully, as said before, the fallow deer just kind of maybe a marketing scheme to
Yeah.
kind of get
Because
people to
that
go and
was
play this
really
game.
requested a few years ago. Lots and lots of people
Exactly,
have been wanting it. That's a big point.
and I think something that might, would be possible with the new engine. It was even possible with the old engine, and just now that they have this new engine, it's even more possible. Is the African reserve that
Yes,
everybody
I was just about
seems
ready
to
to
have
bring
wanted.
that up.
I know that this engine reminds me a lot,
You cut out there.
and oh, I know that this new engine a lot of some of the more recent Cabela's games,
Yes.
and in those, you've got African adventures all over the place. So it's not, and I know that somebody was saying, oh, how are you going to get an into the game? Well, in the Hunter Primal, we've got T-Rex and
Yeah.
Triceratops. Those are huge animals that are already in the game, so they would have no issue bringing an elephant into the game. So I definitely think Call of the Wild um, will get, maybe,
An African
hopefully,
reserve.
will get an African reserve. Although this trailer, once again, we just have one trailer that is 1 minute and 40
And they,
seconds long.
yeah, they basically
But
described nothing but forests and wetlands. That's all they've
it
said
seems
so
to
far.
be it seems to be kind of geared towards North America
Yeah, like the Rocky
from what we
Mountain
can see.
region.
It definitely looks that way. It reminds me of some of the northern parts
Yeah, like
of
Montana
up
area.
in, well, even up in Canada. It kind of reminds a
Yeah.
lot of scenic shots remind me of the Yukon a little bit. The one that I'm looking at right now, still on the same clip, 7 seconds in, with the mountains and the pine trees. It kind of reminds me of parts of Canada, and that would also be interesting. Me personally, I'm not 100% on board with an African style reserve because, once again, I played a lot of the Cabela games, and a lot of the Cabela games are geared towards
Yes.
African adventures because it's the big game paradise or something, whatever.
Well,
And
I've played
it
a
just
lot of
feels
Cabela's,
overdone.
and I always I sit there and I play the African ones. I always default back to the Alaskan Adventures or Dangerous
Right,
Hunts or
right.
whatever it was called. It was an older game. I played it quite a bit, but that was the one I always defaulted to.
There's just something about, when I think hunting, I think North America. North America is really just, it's a hunter's paradise.
It
The
is.
common guy can go out and he can just hunt, or girl for that
Yeah,
matter.
there is no
And you can just hunt.
restrictions really. All you need's a license and
Obviously,
grab a gun.
yeah. I mean, you've got so much, tons of public lands to go and hunt, and everybody always thinks, oh, grizzly bear, caribou or moose or elk, those are always, white-tailed deer is one of the most sought after big game animals,
Yeah, but there's so many more animals out there as well that you can hunt.
Exactly. I know that people were talking about pronghorn that did
Oh,
not make an
yes.
appearance.
In
We were
Timber Gold.
hoping
I
that
was
they would,
hoping for them.
yeah. I was hoping that the kind of aspen forest where the
Mm-hmm.
elk are mainly in the kind of western region of the map. I was hoping that that would be kind of a plains area where they could have put the wolves or bison and even pronghorn. Um, that would have been kind of neat. It would have fit with the Rocky Mountain theme, but they didn't. They chose not to do that. Fine, whatever. But I hope that they will make an appearance in this game, and that we will get some more open, um, open areas to do, especially some long range shooting.
Yes,
Um,
because on the old Hunter, the Hunter the Classic, you were limited to 200-yard shots or 200-meter shots.
that is
Unless you
another
went
thing
up on a
too.
hill, then you could mess with
Will
it.
will,
But
will the engine allow for a higher render distance though?
I
Would
believe that it
we?
will. I believe it
I'm
will.
hoping it will, and I feel like since so many people have requested it, because a lot of those higher end PC players, they've got a good rig, they can go to higher render distance, but the game is just set to that,
Exactly. Some people could
200
probably
meter.
get a good 1,000-yard render distance out.
Oh
And
yeah, and it. I definitely think that with this new engine, they could definitely do it. We could be looking at 500-meter shots, maybe. Maybe that's too much. I'm not really sure,
well,
but it
I
would be
mean,
it would be interesting.
there are simulated ballistics, so accounting for drop and all that, that might actually become a thing. Because in normal hunting, even if you're taking a long range shot, that kind of stuff does
Right.
come up pretty often.
Yeah.
Unless you're just sitting in a field. But I know quite a bit of people that like to do long range shooting, and they have scopes and setups for that. And you do this does come up. It's not just all close range.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the new simulated ballistics as well, that would just back up, the render distance. It would give you more reason to have those simulated ballistics because the farther you shoot, the more you have to take consideration, wind speed and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and I definitely think that it's going to be kind of interesting and kind of cool. And also, how will this affect? Because we already it's kind of rough, but we do have arrow
Ballistics.
drop.
Yeah. Arrow drop
Um,
and
you know,
if you use a 22, I don't know if you've ever shot a 22 in the Hunter, but
no, I haven't.
the Plinkingtons or whatever they're called, I use them for rabbits and geese and all that. You do have to account for drop with them at longer
Okay.
ranges. So once you get to like 150 yards, I have a 50 or a 12 by 50, the biggest scope there is. I use
Yeah.
that for my 22. And for rabbits that are above 150 yards, you do have to aim not much above them, but you do have to aim above them.
Right.
And
Right.
for shooting geese and ducks out of the air with it, you do have to account for it, and that's a challenge all of itself, just because they're flying and all that. But there is bullet drop in the game. It's just not as apparent as we'd like it to be.
Right. Right. Um, yeah, it's definitely going to be something
Interesting.
new and something very challenging. Um, and it would be kind of interesting to see if they go as far as to make it so that the different weapons would
Each
have,
have their own drop.
well, I feel like they would all have to, but like drastic amounts, like in real life, like you could use one rifle that has, you know, this amount of drop or whatever, and you have to accommodate. And then you use another rifle that's a little bit higher powered, and you don't have to accommodate as much.
Yeah, like
It
different grades of
different.
yeah.
It'll promote different play styles as well. People aren't just going to be running around with a rifle the entire time because it's not going to be as easy to just point and shoot across the valley and hit every time. You're going to have to really plan those shots.
Exactly.
And I definitely think it's going to be something really cool. It'll be a good addition, and I look forward to it.
Now,
So
let's just talk real quick about the fact that there is going to be a closed beta. You can sign up for it. There will be a link in the description for that. You can sign up
yeah,
for it.
isn't it it's the 9th or something.
Yeah.
It's one of
It closes the
it's one of
2nd or
the
something, I think. Let me check.
I don't have the exact date. It's sometime
Um,
next week or the week after.
You can sign up between
And
the 28th and the 4th, and you will be contacted the 6th. And it starts December 9th at 5 p.m. Or no, it starts December 6th at 10, and it ends December 9th. So you
okay,
have a
that's I knew the
3-day,
9th was.
yeah, you have a 3-day
And
play period.
there's no, as far as we know right now, I don't, at least as far as I know, there's no word on if people will be allowed to stream closed beta. I would assume not, except for select people. Maybe Who Cares could do it, and maybe
Yeah.
obviously I feel like the development team might do it. So possibly look out for a stream. I doubt people are going to be able to talk about it, and they're probably not going to be able to release video. If they can't stream it, they're not going to be able to release videos on it.
I may apply for closed beta, but the odds of me getting it are small. And if I do get it, I probably won't record anything, but I will go over some stuff. I'll talk about it a bit if I do get in.
I would apply for it, but I like I said, I can't run it, which is a bummer. But you just kind of have to deal with it with the new engine and everything.
Yeah. Now,
But
something that I have to say is, for all the people who are like, well, when's it coming out? It is coming out in the spring, but I would not recommend buying it off the bat, personally. I would recommend waiting and seeing what people think about it and seeing what they say. And if everyone's just saying it's not fun, it's not good, don't buy it, then just stay away from it and stick with the Hunter Classic.
well, it's one of those situations of the fact that they like to release things really slowly, and
That's
some
that's
things are,
honestly why it surprised me that it's coming out in spring. That kind of seemed a bit early for me.
well, I think I heard somewhere that somebody in the forums had said that they have been developing this for a little over 2 years. So it would make sense,
Yeah.
especially if they've just built off of the Hunter
Yeah,
Classic.
because then they already had something to go off of. They already had some ideas
Yeah,
of what to do.
it would have been very easy to just kind of shift things over, create new things. Um,
So now they're
and
probably
and
just
I
in the
do.
polishing stage, honestly. They're just
Well,
fixing little
that's what it looks
things.
like with this trailer. This trailer definitely looks. Um, it almost looks like a finished product,
It does,
and
yeah.
and that's the simple fact of the matter, is that it is almost a finished product. It's coming out in spring. Spring of 2017. Yeah. So that's right around the corner.
It is.
And it's it it's, I don't know if it's gonna be what everybody thinks it's gonna be. I'm not sure how they're gonna do, if they're gonna update it,
Like they
and add
do
new
the Hunter
animals,
Classic, yeah, where they every month
or
or
if they're gonna
two
go, for the DLC uh, route.
idea.
If they're
Yeah.
gonna, I really hope they don't do that, because it would, being that the Hunter Classic has, provided that you're a member, you can hunt all the animals.
And you have free ammo and all that. And
Yeah. It would really suck if they decided to release an expansion pass, especially if it was a whole reserve. You know what I mean?
and it
I,
cost
I
it. The
yeah, you
DLCs
would have to
cost
pay,
money. Yeah.
you'd pay $20 or something like that for a reserve with all the animals. The only problem with that is that they would have to release all new animals. You wouldn't be able to just recycle animals and throw them into that new reserve.
Exactly.
Because then it would just be a ripoff. You're paying for the same crap that you already have, and I highly doubt they're going to do that. And part of me thinks that, I feel like the Hunter Classic is done. I feel like they're not going to add new animals. I feel like they're continue to do sales. They might add new weapons,
Yeah.
equipment to keep people playing it. But I think
I
this
feel like
is
the
kind of,
wolf's the last thing.
yeah. I
Definitely.
feel like Call of the Wild kind of marks the stopping point, and whatever they add in Call of the Wild or whatever else it is, maybe even that whole African reserve. I definitely think that that could be the stopping point. Maybe for the past 2 years they've been adding all of these animals in that we've been requesting, and maybe they've just there's nothing else that they want to add in. So because
Now
it
they're
doesn't
done. Now they want to sell
it
it.
does it doesn't make sense to well on the other hand, you do have like the Isle, that dinosaur game
Yeah, yeah.
where you pay $20 for it, and it's an early access, and they're still developing it. They could do that, but at the same time, they're really kind of selling this almost like a AAA title. You know what I mean? Like they're releasing this trailer, and it's a one-time pay fee, a totally new kind of area for them to
Idea for
be
them.
in.
Yeah, yeah. They're used to the
Yeah,
microtransactions and adding new stuff
yeah.
as people ask for it and all that.
Um, and yeah, they I think I think that they could update it and add new things in, but I do feel like they've been working on this for a while, and they've probably already added everything to it. And from this point on, they're probably still going to have microtransactions in it, because that's just kind of inevitable with them. They'll probably have
They
like
have
the base
said
weapons.
that they were gonna drop it, but there probably will be in some shape or form. It will still be there, I believe, in some way.
Yeah. It could be in the form of scent eliminator or whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. But it's I think everybody can agree that this is something really crazy for the hunter community.
Unexpected, honestly.
Unexpected, yeah, definitely. I mean, in my situation, I came home and I looked in my subscription box, and the Hunter Call of the Wild trailer from Expansive Worlds popped up, and I'm just, what is this?
Yeah, then as soon as I come home from actually like real life hunting, as soon as I come home, I see that you messaged me all this, and I'm like, Call of the Wild? What?
Well, I had no idea what was going on. I
I
didn't
had no
know.
idea either.
I didn't know if it was just an update to the Hunter Classic, but nope, it turns out to be a whole new game, and I guess we're gonna see what it's all about in spring.
Yep, that's all
It's
you can really
definitely.
do.
Yep. So for right now, it's all assuming things and skepticism, and we don't have a lot of information, so we can't sit here
Yeah,
and say that it's going to be a terrible game. We can't say it's going to be a great game. We have to we have to
we've
wait.
stated all the facts. We went over what we think. Now, honestly, my opinion is it's gonna be a good game. That's my opinion. But bad thing about it for me is I feel like the community's not gonna be in it for this one, like it is for the Hunter Classic. I feel like there's gonna be an
It's
issue with the community because people are
it's
gonna be torn.
really just a matter of being able to run the game, and if it is worth it.
Yep.
If the simulated ballistics, the improved animal behaviors. Another thing that they said was dynamic weather events,
Yes,
something like
that
that.
was on their dynamic weather events.
If all of these improvements, if the graphics, if it's all going to be worth it, or if they're going to want to stick with the Hunter Classic, what we're used to, and the platform we're used to, and everything like that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting what's the actual release date? Do you have it?
No, it's just available for PC early 2017. That's all they have.
Okay. Well, it's definitely going to be something interesting, and it gives me vibes like some kind of election. It's just people are picking sides, and it feels like the 2016 election all
Well,
over again in the Hunter, and
lot smaller
it's kind of
community,
scary.
but
Well, yeah, but it's definitely it's gonna be interesting.
and less name
And
calling. Let's not forget
oh yeah,
that.
oh yeah, definitely. Well, there's some people in the
Yeah.
community, but yeah, no. We'll just have to see when it comes out, and obviously, they will have the closed beta and then an open beta at some point, which will
I'm
obviously
guessing that
have.
will be early 2017, sometime in like February something. That's my guess.
Oh, I would assume so. In a few months, probably.
Yeah, once they get the stuff from closed beta, they'll fix up the little issues, and then out to open
Yep.
beta.
So yeah, that's that. And
Yeah.
yep. So
Don't
we've
forget to
got we've
subscribe. First off, let's.
yeah, we need it right now. But yeah, subscribe, like if you enjoyed our little talk here, and leave a comment below. Create a discussion. You know, we kind of want to make this a conversation, I guess. Really,
Yeah, that's kind of what we're
see what
building off
everybody
of here.
thinks.
And also, don't forget,
Um,
if you're new to the Hunter and you don't know what's going on, first off, we can help you understand what the Hunter is. First off, if you just download the game, you're having problems understanding it, we could take you on a guided tour. That's what we're really doing this all for. Take you on a guided tour, get you used to the Hunter, and then whenever this comes out, you can determine if you do want to waste money on this or not. Or if you just want to hunt free species on the Hunter, or even if you just want to get better at certain things, we can give you a guide to hunt and help you with that too.
yeah, yeah. We you know, I had the idea of just helping people out in the game a while ago, and then I met a few people, and we created a group called the EverGreen Outfitters because you know, the Hunter world is called Evergreen.
Yeah.
It was terribly clever. Um, but yeah, no, we you know, you can check out our Steam group. You can go to our website. We're gonna try to regularly upload, I think,
Yeah,
to
probably
this
about
channel.
once a week, maybe twice a week, something like that.
Yep, yep. Definitely gonna try. But yeah, if you're new to the game, especially with you know, Timbergold just coming out and people getting into it,
We
and
have
then with
about
this new
what,
game
3
coming
or
out.
4 people that have decent setups for Timbergold, I think, right? Something like that. I know that us
Yeah,
two do.
yeah. We've got a few. I've got a pretty decent one. I've pulled a lot of good animals out of it recently, and I
The
know that
biggest
you have.
elk I've gotten is a 410. I've gotten multiple 400s, multiple 390s. I got fairly good setup going.
Right, right. So yeah, no, you should if you're new to the game, or if you just wanna hunt with somebody, I'm happy to come in. You can use our setups, um, and you know, we can just have a good time.
Yep. And
I
it's
feel
not only Timbergold, it's all the reserves.
yes, yes, yes. Yeah, we're not just doing Timber Gold, all reserves. I don't, me myself, I don't have a setup on every reserve. I only have a setup on Timber Gold.
I have set up for Timbergold, and then I can waterfowl and duck hunt.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I do.
But yeah, if you're new to the game or hunt with somebody, then you know, go to our Steam group, message any of the group masters, otherwise known as the guides. We have a Discord server, so you can come in and talk to us and stuff. And we're more than happy to have you. And also, if there are any veteran players out there, or people who know what they're talking about, essentially, we definitely need help. We need more people.
More guides are always welcome.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we don't know everything. We know the basics. We know a fair bit. But
Yep,
it's always
and
good to have
honestly, the
more
more that
people.
we hunt together, the more that we learn different things from each other, and it helps build our
Exactly,
knowledge.
exactly. It just you know, this game is really, they added multiplayer because it's all about the experience, and you know, we just
We
want to
can learn a
create
lot from each other.
experiences. Exactly, you know, and so yeah, come check us out. We'll post, you know, like you said, at least once a week, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll
Try.
try.
We'll try to be consistent with it. So yeah, that's been it's been Adam and Shane from Evergreen Outfitters, and you know, we'll see you all later. Happy hunting.